to double your sales now. I'm so excited because I have the very amazing, awesome Margaret Hernandez Brown here today, and she and I are going to be discussing how to grow your business with social media in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic and everything else that's going on in the world. So I just want to say, Margaret, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. And I was trying to do the math. I think we've known each other like maybe 15 years. I don't even, it's been a long time, right?
It's been a long time. I would say more like 12 years.
Okay. You're like, don't age me that much. All right. Well, good. Well, I'm excited to have this conversation today. And before we get there, listeners, I just want to thank you, everyone who's listening all over the world, and whoever is in Ecuador. Like, we've had a lot of you listening. So welcome. Thank you. We appreciate you. And for any of you, if there's a question or a show topic that you would like us to include, please email us at contact@salescoachnow.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you haven't left a review yet, we'd love for you to do that as well. You can just go to iTunes and let us know what you love about the show, because that helps other people see what they can learn from the show as well. And when you leave a review, then go to salescoachnow.com/giveaway, because we're giving away some cool gifts. You can get the 1 Great Gold process for free. You can download the book, some cool stuff there. So I just want to encourage you to do that. And thank you in advance. Also, if you haven't been to virtual sales camp yet, we've been having a blast. So we've taken our normal elbow to elbow class. It's all virtual now. Lots of magic happening there. So we have a super special price for our podcast listeners. You can email us at contact@salescoachnow.com and we will get you all set up. Finally, we have an amazing sponsor that I want to tell you about, and Sales Coach Now is actually sponsoring their event too. So we're sponsoring together. And I'm really excited about what they're up to. So there's an organization called First Amendment Voice. And if you remember, Steve Miska was actually on the show recently. You can go back and listen to what he's all about. And they have an event coming up called Constitution Day. It's a 2-day webinar series. It's bipartisan. It's not political. It's just for everyone to come together and, find out what's going on in the world, figure out how to have better conversations, really connect with each other, and really connect with people across the lane, right? Across the way, who might be in a different political party than you. Because my goal at Sales Coach Now is to not only share great information about sales and business, but also to remind everyone that we're in this together, right? We got to keep small business strong. We want to support people across the way. When entrepreneurs do well, we give back to the organizations and nonprofits we care about. So I just want to invite you to learn more about this event. And you can go to constitutionday.com and check it out. And this will allow you to better understand and exercise your First Amendment freedoms. September 17th, which is also known as Citizenship Day, Constitution Day is an American holiday honoring the day the United States Constitution was signed in Philadelphia. So it's pretty cool. And they're going to have the following at the event: workshops on difficult conversations. And we're actually sponsoring one of those. So if you're interested it's very low cost. I think you can attend for $25, but it's an opportunity to learn how to have conversations during this time, right? So when you go to that family dinner and someone's on the left and someone's on the right, how do you have a conversation right now that's constructive? Because as Steve said, we have a lot more in common across all the political parties, right, than we do that makes us different. So trying to bring people together. You're going to learn about religious freedom, freedom of speech, and also freedom in the media. What does that mean? How do you know if you're reading real news or fake news? So all kinds of things that can help you right now. So go to constitutionday.com, check out what they're doing. I just think that could help all of us have a better fall as we move through an election year. So with that, it's my pleasure to welcome Margaret Hernandez Brown to our show. And I've been trying to get Margaret here for a while, and we finally made it happen. She's the founder and chief digital strategist of socializela.com, which by itself is an amazing URL. So whenever you grab that was super smart. I'm sure you know this, right? She owns a full service digital marketing and training agency. Margaret helps companies with their business development by improving their visibility, credibility, and likability, all things that we need. By maximizing their social media and developing profitable marketing systems. She is so passionate about digital business that she created the Flex Your Influence community. That's a hashtag, I should say, Flex Your Influence community, and Digital Marketing Planner, a comprehensive guide to achieving a profitable online presence, which we all want. And today, Socialize LA has experienced explosive growth while helping clients achieve success globally. She travels around the country, probably a little bit less now, but now virtually, right? And offers comprehensive training and guidance. Margaret and her team prove that there's value in getting noticed. And at the end, you'll find out more about how you can connect with her because she's super awesome. So with that, Margaret, I just want you to start by telling us your story, because you got into the social media space, as we were talking about before we started the show, when a lot of people didn't even understand social media or that they could hire a company to help them. So tell us a little bit about your story and what's going on now that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Let's start there.
Amazing. Thank you again for having me. And my story actually started with a pivot, and that's right when I joined Sales Coach Now, which was my first step into, it was my first program. And what happened was when I went into business, I was structured as a customer service client retention company because that's what I had come out of in corporate. During that time, 2008, that was, everyone remembers 2008, crazy time.
Yeah.
Yep. And so it was like, why are you starting a business? I mean, no one in Sales Coach Now told me that because we don't believe in limiting our beliefs and limiting ourselves. But it was very apparent to me that that was not what people wanted. Once I would sit down with a potential client, I was an early adopter of all things social media and technology since I was in junior high. And I would help them set up their social media. And one day it just dawned on me that that's really where I should be focused. And so that was an immediate pivot, and I didn't look back. And that's what my company has been for 11 and a half years.
Wow. Yeah. And how did you come up with the name? And do you help clients outside of LA? I know you do. So I want you to share a little bit
good question.
more about
And
that.
people wonder that. They say, well, aren't you? No. And actually most of my clients, 80% of my clients are across the country. And I'll talk about how I get new clients. But no, we're just based in downtown LA. And I had to, sometimes you have to get clever because to me, it's all about the domain. It's all about how people are going to find you and remember you. And so Socialize, I really wanted my name to have the word social in it, Socialize. But socialize.com was not available, or it just didn't make sense. So once I added that LA to it, it was easy and I was able to grab it everywhere.
Awesome. I love it. So let's, I want to go back to when you first started. I have a two-part question about limiting beliefs because we love to talk about them here and just how we've kind of destroyed them as, we all get them, but how do we let go of them? So going back to when you first launched your business, did you have any limiting beliefs about sales, selling, or business then?
Absolutely. So many. I had limiting beliefs about money. I had limiting beliefs about having a lot of money. I had beliefs that it was hard to get money. It was hard to make and earn a living, that you had to work countless hours, work hard if you really wanted it. And did people really want to work with me? Did they really need the service? I mean, you name it, it was there. I mean, I never knew a business owner though, Ursula. So I had no one to learn from or to, so that was very early in the game. I don't believe that now.
Yeah. So walk me through, let's talk about money. That hasn't come up as much. We talk so much about selling, but money and sales go hand in hand. So in working hard, and I can certainly relate to that, and I've shared my own stories about having to believe that, you have to work physically hard to make any amount of money. And growing up on a farm, I had that belief. Talk about your limiting beliefs about working hard. Where do you think they came from? And what did you do to shift them to get you to where you are today?
I really believe that it came from seeing my parents work so hard and not earn a lot of money. They worked hard, and just beautiful people, my grandparents, even my extended family, working hard, but still barely making it. And growing up, it was like we had an abundance of love and support, but you just knew that money was a struggle. And so coming out of that, I now know that what they did and what they instilled in me and my work ethic and to think smarter has now made me realize that if I choose a career where I don't have to do that, it's a choice. And it might take a minute to pivot and to get into a new space or a new career, but it's possible. And it's not, you don't have to do that. You don't have to break your back.
Yeah. Wow. So you've stood on the shoulders of your hardworking, amazing parents, grandparents
Yeah.
who really blazed a trail for you, and I'm sure wanted better for you or didn't want you to have to work as physically hard. And not to say that they didn't enjoy their work. I mean, they probably did. They probably, but the piece of like when you come from that working hard and not making a lot of money, can be a lot of limiting beliefs that are embedded in that. So what have you discovered about what's really possible about working maybe a little bit less or not all the time, or even in a way that's fun and flexible for you and making a lot of money? Like, how have you brought those two things together for yourself?
Not trading money and time.
Say more about that.
Yeah. So, being in this business for 12 years, I bring a lot to the table, a ton of experience. Not to mention, I've hired now, I just hired someone yesterday. As I grow, I hire because I have a personal quota of hours that I am willing to work every week.
Hmm.
And so I hire to make sure that that stays that way. But I used to do time for money, and that's ridiculous because we can't do that. As the expert, you have to trade time for value. And so pricing right has been the key to profit, feeling good about the work that I'm doing and that the team is doing, making sure that everybody is appreciated. It just does so much for morale. It's not just about watching the bank account grow. It's about all the opportunities that open up when you do have funds. I mean, I know we're going to talk about this. I'm sure you might have a question about COVID, and our company I didn't lose any sleep about money because A, I knew I had my reserves. B, I knew that I could make money. I could pivot or continue to I do a lot of online business anyway, so this was not a huge shift for me, but I did dive a little deeper. So
Yeah. We're going to talk about that. So I want to unpack a few things because for our listeners all over the world, this is just, there's some major nuggets that you're tossing around right now, which I don't want anyone to miss. So you have, and I've never heard anyone say it quite like this. This could be a book, like in your book, a personal quota of hours that I work. And I hire when I realize that I might have to start to dip into that personal quota. That is so powerful. And that you're talking about having really strong boundaries, personal boundaries around your time and in your business regarding how much you're willing to work and how much you're not, and what you can delegate and what you can get off your plate. So, oh my goodness, so many questions, but I want to spend a minute on this because especially for women business owners, guys are a little bit better at this or a lot better at this still than we are as women business owners. But we often are the team when we start a business, and men hire the team right away. And so there's this learning curve. And so I can feel some of our listeners saying, but I can't afford to hire. Remember like that when we hit that first, that first hire, that second, it's like, I can't afford. Walk us through how you broke through that. And now how fun is it to hire people? Like, just talk about that for a minute, right?
Well, first of all, it was an epiphany at a NABO conference in Miami.
Awesome. Of course. NABO. Right. Shout out to NABO. Yes.
Yes. And it was from LaVon Shields.
We've had LaVon on the show. Yay. Awesome.
A mutual friend who I love dearly, but she told me, you need to hire, because we were talking about this. And I said, I'm working way too much. Don't even want new clients. Imagine having that on your shoulders because you can't. And I said, well, I can't hire because in my head, and if anyone's thinking this, when you hire, you have to have a 401k plan. You need to have 40 hours a week. You need to have HR processes. And she told me all about websites where you could hire freelancers who are doing awesome work, but are working from home remotely and working on various projects. And that's how I made my first hire. And that opened my eyes and my life and my world to something so much better. And that is what I did. And to be honest with you, to this day, all of my team, they are contractors. They're all over the country, East Coast, West Coast, middle. They are moms. They are people who want to travel all the time, even though they're not doing that now.
Right.
When I started this company way back, when I didn't have a client, I said, I want my company to be a place where everyone gets flexibility, not just me.
Mm.
And that's what everybody has. That's what everybody gets: flexibility, freedom. And yeah, so that was the hiring process. And now it's fun to hire because I know what I need, I know what I want, and I know the protocols of, how I bring them on board and how I set expectations.
That's massive. This is going to be a show that I know people listen to again and just soak that part in, because it does, like, whenever my team is growing, and we've grown and we've shrunk and we've grown, and you go through different stages and phases, and you also realize you need different things at different times, but it's a celebration because it means that your company's growing. And every day I look at my to-do list and I ask myself, who else should be doing this? My goal is to clear my to-do list so I can focus on the things that I'm good at, because I'm not good at most of it. So, all right. Oh my gosh, so many things I want to ask you. So first of all, okay, and I can't help but notice, but behind you on your wall, I think you have money on your wall. Is that money?
It is money.
Yeah. So can you tell us the meaning of that and why that's important? I'm being super nosy now that, I'm really peeking in your office.
Enter.
I see some Nabo stuff too, but tell me about the money.
Okay, so like I said, limiting belief was money is hard, money is bad, money, you have a lot of money, you're probably not a great person. I'm sorry that, I thought that. But again, you think what you think, right?
Right.
But now I know that money is freedom. It allows me to support organizations that I love. It allows me to hire. It allows me to do a lot of different things. So this is just a reminder to myself that this is okay to have. It's okay to have, several of these in your wallet at a time if you want. And it's okay. It's great.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And it's okay just to have it on the wall, because you don't need to have it in your wallet, because it's fine, because more is coming. Oh, this is so much fun, Margaret. I never know where shows are going to go. And so it's always magical to see what comes out. You talked about some of the things you did to pivot once the pandemic started. So I'm super curious about, I know our listeners are too, just from your expert opinion, what has changed about social media? You said you started to do some more, like you've gone even more virtual, which you already were, but share with us like just what you've experienced, what you changed, what you're seeing out there, if you would.
Okay. Well, like you were saying earlier, I travel a lot for work, whether it's clients or it's speaking, but more so for clients. And so when I'm asked to speak in person, I'm very limited to when and how, because also my personal boundaries.
Yes.
So sometimes I have to say no to things that it's like, that was my only day home. There's no way I'm driving to San Diego or flying to San Francisco. I can't. So what's changed is that I really don't have to say no to much, because in the same day that I'm doing an event, well, I can also work on the things in my business that I want to work on.
Right.
And all it is maybe a trip downstairs to refill my coffee. So it's amazing. But personally, well, I want to say one thing that has shifted that might scare people, because I know the fears around, like, the fears around sales and money. You've been around it a long time. With digital marketing, the fears are people are already saying what I have to say. There's already too much noise. How am I ever, I'm so far behind. And I'm going to tell you, if that is how you're feeling, please don't. Anybody can pick up right now and start adding valuable, awesome content, and you're in the game. So that's something that I always like to share whenever I speak, whenever I talk to anyone, because I know someone's thinking that. But the space is, yes, it's very loud, it's crowded, it's noisy, but it's not impossible to get your message heard.
Even now in all the noise. And I mean, do you think anything, like what has, I mean, obviously, when I think about social media, and there's a lot of conversation about what's happening in the world, and that's very loud, right? There's a lot of that happening.
Yes.
What has shifted, or how are you helping your small businesses stand out in a kind of, a pretty turbulent, chaotic time?
Yes, that's a great, great question. So my thing is, we do not want to retreat. My question to my clients, or the conversations we're having, is, do you plan on being in business in 2021? Yes. Then let's do this. So yes, the messages change. Myself, I pushed back an open enrollment for my membership because of everything that was happening in the world. It didn't feel right. So you have to have your senses on. And if you don't have a good sense, or you're just not sure, I hope you have a board of advisors that you can reach out to say, what should I say? Or someone, because you don't want to retreat, but at the same time, we have to be sensitive to what's happening in the world. And I'm with you, everything you said at the beginning of the announcements with the First Amendment event. I think that's how I am. It's like, what can we do for small business? That's where I lie. That's where my heart is. So yes, it is definitely an area that you have to give some extra thought to, but still you move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, in a nutshell.
Yeah, right. Well, we can't hide. And we did have a few clients in the beginning who, wanted to kind of wait it out. And I said, I think you're going to be waiting a long time. And even we, like the first round, we rescheduled. So right when the pandemic hit, we rescheduled our live events thinking we'd be flying to San Diego in June. Mm-hmm. And then we quickly realized that not going to happen. And so then I made the decision that everything would be virtual through the end of 2020 and probably into 2021. So, we just had to take a strong look at it. And once we helped our clients, it was exactly what you said. I said to my clients, you're either in or you're out. There's no gray area right now if your business is going to survive. I want you to be 100% in, and I want you to reconnect to the stretch goal that you had at the beginning of 2020, because we were all like going to have our best years yet.
Right.
So they did. And I said, and we're going to shift the belief that you think you can't have your best year yet in the pandemic. And as soon as they got all in, and Margaret, you've heard me like talk about this, like once you're all in, you've made the decision, you're committed, the way shows up. And now we've had clients have their best months in the history of their businesses. One of them made cold calls, like she was in the space of cold calling, and she had her best month ever in March in the space of shipping, which shipping was a disaster. There was nobody who would have said she would have her best month yet, right? But she got committed and she started cold calling like crazy. And she found this is the best time to ever to be making calls, because people were actually answering the phone and they were really nice to her. So she got all these new clients because she reached out and said, how can I help you? Which is what selling is, right? So I get pretty excited about that. But I just, for anyone who's listening, this is like, get recommitted to your original goals, right? Margaret, you're saying get recommitted, get all in, make the decision to move forward, and just do it. And on that note of sales and crushing it and making it your best year yet, we know you're an expert in social media. So I'm assuming that's one of the sales strategies you use, but can you let us into your world a little bit? What are the top 2 sales strategies that you've been using since the pandemic started to keep your business moving forward?
Okay, so one of them is my tried and true. And if you've ever heard me speak, it's all about engagement. So people have the idea that social media, digital marketing is like your 24/7 billboard, freeway billboard. And it's not. When you're using it right, it's about building relationships, just like anything else, any other networking tool. So engaging with my Instagram followers, engaging with LinkedIn, like there's a strategy for each. Doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it can. The more you put into it, the more you get out. That is definitely something that I've started to do more because I've had more time-ish. And right. It's been awesome. It's been awesome because people are feeling like, wow, like Margaret really cares. And I do. I just don't always have the time to say it. But right now, engaging is super important, and just being really strategic though, because if you know that people if you have a list of people that, you know, your top 50, your top 20, I would recommend that you are connected with them on the proper channels and engaging with them. If they post a blog, you might see that they only had 3 likes and no comments. You could be that only comment, and that will set really well with them. And it's not sneaky. It needs to be genuine, but I'm telling you, that goes a long way, especially if the next day you want to give them a call. So
yes, go ahead. That's a really good point. You can comment on mine anytime as well.
Okay, good.
And I'll do the same for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have great engagement though. All right, what's your second one?
Okay, my second one is showing up to online events. Whether you're hosting them, whether you are attending them, I highly recommend showing up live on Facebook. If you can do that, you will be doing yourself a world of good, because people, like you said, the person you're talking about, people were nice to them when they picked up the phone. It's nice right now to hear a voice of, you know, encouragement. Or I don't talk a lot about COVID. Once in a while, I'll mention it, but I am trying to get people's mind off of that for 5 seconds and on their business. And so I'm uplifting, I'm letting them know like a new tip, trick, but showing up is really important right now. And we can do that more than we ever have been able to. And that has made the difference in sales for me, and memberships in my membership.
So you're saying Facebook, do Facebook lives, be live on Facebook?
Absolutely.
Sure that, yeah.
But whenever you can be live with someone,
anywhere,
that's more powerful because you control it. You can have guests, there's all kinds of software. If you see my Facebook lives, you might say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. How did you create that? It's a software.
So that ties to the next question, so those are your strategies. When you first get started with a client, what are the first 2 to 3 strategies that you want them to implement, or what do you share with them? Like, we're going into your secret vault now. Like, how do you get engaged with your clients? How do you help them?
Secret vault, I need to ask them what their goals are. What are your sales goals? What are your company goals? And from there, we decide what the calls to action are going to be. You never want to post anything without a call to action, because if someone was compelled by something awesome that you said, it's very important that you give them that next step. And having it not be your homepage or your contact page is a plus. You want to lead them to a landing page or an opt-in or a freebie or something of that nature. So when we sit down with our clients, we get clear on what their goals are, and we get clear on what the calls to actions are. We create those a lot of times. And of course, we have to understand who their person is, who is their avatar, their target client. And then from there, we create the strategy on which platforms we'll be on and how often we'll be posting and what other content will be part of the strategy: blogging, podcasts, Facebook Lives, emails, all of that.
So, okay. So good. And you and I, like, we teach similar things about reverse engineering, right? So you're asking, like, what are your sales goals? Because I think a lot of times people can get into social media, and I've made this mistake where we're just throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. And then I got really clear that, you know, social media we need to reverse engineer that the same way we reverse engineer any type of marketing, right? So if I have a business and I want to hit 7 figures, that's my goal, then each month that's $83,333 a month. How does my social media take my prospects on a journey to help them find how we're going to solve their problems, right? And so I want to make sure everyone hears this, that social media needs a map. Mm-hmm. And someone like Margaret can help you figure out what your map is or get you the resources you need. Oh, look at that. There it is. There's your map and your planner.
Yeah.
So you talked about, so have the clear goals, the clear calls to action so that people are being led to the right place, and an avatar. Oh my gosh. Let's just talk about this for a second, because I want our listeners to fire all the prospects on your list who you just don't have a good sense of, or who aren't part of your top 20%, or who, like, they're just right, and make a decision to start to work with an avatar that's your top 20%. Margaret, talk about that. You're a marketing expert. Like, talk about how important it is to focus on the right avatar. And how do you know how to find that?
Well, we know that it takes probably less time, if not just as much, to find the right client as it is to hire the wrong client.
Oh, yes.
And when you hire the wrong client, they are constantly needing you to prove your value. They are constantly, right? It's just constant. So that top 20% is going to help you. You're going to be in your zone, your zone of genius. And so it's extremely important to know that. You have to do some work, find your niche, I'm sure, Ursula, you have amazing exercises in your program, how to find your, make this avatar. And don't be afraid of it. Don't allow the limiting belief of, oh, but what about the other 80%? They don't want to do business with me, or don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No.
Let them go. Like, just let them go. And here's what and Margaret, thanks for saying that. I mean, some of the work we do in this area is, number one, to shift the limiting belief that if I only focus on my top 20%, there's not going to be enough. And that's just, there are now more than 8 billion people on the planet. There's enough for every single one of us who's listening. Like, there's enough for a whole lifetime of business for you, all of our listeners, right? It's massive. And to your point, like, when you get clear on that top 20%, you actually start to fall in love with your business again. And when you're not, a lot of times when we meet with clients who are really unhappy in their business, that's my first question. Who are you working with? Is that who you want to work with? A lot of times they're not charging enough. They're not working with their top 20%. They're working with people who just abuse them. But we teach people how to treat us, right? So you have to make the decision. And if you're like, I have no idea who my top 20% is, here's a hack. Here's my favorite hack. Think about your favorite client. What do you love about them? What are their attributes? Because they are the avatar typically for your top 20%. And what would happen if your entire business was filled with clients like your favorite client, right? And making the decision to move forward into that. Yeah. It's not always an easy one, but it will start to propel you in the direction that you want to go. Margaret, go ahead. Please comment on that. Yeah.
When you're trying to talk to the 100% in your marketing, you are confusing everyone. So when you're speaking in your blog, your podcast, your Facebook Lives, you speak only to that 20%. If others come in and they're interested and you move them, compel them, awesome. But speak just to that top.
Yes, excellent. Well, on that note, I know you have some great tools, resources. You have a membership community, which I don't even know a lot about. So I'm excited to hear about it. Share with us where, of course, all the social media channels that our listeners can find you, but also the resources you have and also the programs you have.
Okay, so we're at socializela.com. We have done for you and done with you services. The done with you go as far as me and a couple of my senior team becoming your outsourced CMO, all the way to joining our membership site, which is $45 a month and supports you in super big ways. That has been the heartbeat it's been the new and the heartbeat of Socialize LA to help more people. But the done for you is you don't want to do anything. You are strapped. We become your social media department, your digital marketing department, and we can do a little and we can do a lot. So in a nutshell, how you find us on our website, socializela.com, or on all of the channels and at Socialize LA. I also, before we go, I want to just show this to Ursula. I don't want everybody to see him because some of them are really personal.
Okay.
These are my goals that I set from One Great Goal, but also before that, it was also my Sales Coach Now. So my Sales Coach Now goals, my stretch goals are in this sheet, 2011, and I have surpassed my stretch goal, thank goodness. And I keep this because I just remember, don't make me cry, but I remember this, I turned 40 this year. I was 29, very unsure of what was happening in my life and my business, and writing these goals was like, how am I ever going to get that? How will I ever do that? Travel out of country? No way. Last year I went to 3 continents. I mean, this is like big time. And I do want to say, Ursula, that time I spent at Sales Coach Now really, it did things for me that I had no idea were sinking in so deep. Limiting beliefs during COVID, they didn't exist. I pivoted right away. I hosted a living room business summit. I was one of the first events that happened online. And it was because I wanted to bring people together. I was not limited by what was happening around me. And so anyway, yeah.
Wow. Well, one of the things that I think about a lot is that, you know, these tools like One Great Goal, you know, are divine downloads, and we get to give them and hope that they take hold and shine a flashlight. We don't do the heavy lifting. Like, you showed up ready to change your life and change yourself and take the personal responsibility that it takes to make it happen, right? Because it's not magic. Like, you had to do the work. So, and I mean, you know, I think so highly of you, and I just loved having you in our programs because you were always such a bright light, and you just came in like, this is what I'm doing, here's what's next. And I just want to say congratulations on making it happen. And here you are, like, here we are all these years later, look at all the different things we're doing. Yeah. And, you know, and look at how you're making a difference in the world. So I just want to say, well, thank you for sharing that. Like, I'm not going to cry, I could. It means a lot to know how this helps people. And this is why we keep going, right? Because there's days when we ask ourselves why we ever started our own company. And these are the moments that I hold on to that remind me why. So Margaret, we love you. We adore you. We're so glad you're part of our community. I want to give you a chance. I mean, for everyone, go to Socialize LA, $45 a month for Margaret's expertise. Like, if you want some support, is such a no-brainer. If you want to get it all completely off your plate, she can help you. She's been in it. I mean, there's not a lot of people that have survived in social media for 12 years that I know who still have businesses and are going with the times. I mean, that's an accomplishment in itself. And it tells me and should tell you just the quality that Margaret delivers. So reach out to her and figure out how you can get the support. So also the workbook that you held up, how do we get that?
Okay, so that is at socializela.com/planner.
Okay.
But for all of your listeners, I just decided that I want to give everyone my 90-day ready-to-use content template. It's it's priced at $27, much more valuable than that. But for all of your listeners, I want to give that to them for free. So if they visit socializela.com/90-day, all lowercase, they use Sales Coach Now as their code, and they will receive the content template along with me guiding them with some videos. It is a game changer. So it's a great place to start, and it's going to be free for you.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you. I can feel the downloads happening. So go to socializela.com/90-day and use the code Sales Coach Now. And we'll put that in the show notes as well, Margaret, so people can easily access it. So thank you for that. And definitely, I mean, this is a no-brainer. Like, just use it. If you're listening right now, this is a message for you. Like, download it, use it, get your social media where it needs to be, because there's never been a better time to be visible than when we're all working from our home offices. So Margaret, final words. I want to give you a moment just to share with our listeners just some final advice, especially for those business owners who might be having a tough time right now. What would you say to them?
I would say congratulations on surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, who believe in the process of business. And there's highs, there's lows. You're doing that by listening to this podcast. I encourage you to continue to do that, but not only listen. At one point, you need to, like Ursula said, you need to jump in and say, I'm going to make a step, even if it's one step, even if it's downloading the 90-day template and maybe you don't even touch it for a month. That's okay. Just take baby steps if that's where you are. Now, if you're ready, you need to go all in. Don't be afraid to invest. If you haven't been to a Sales Coach Now event, don't hold back. It's a game changer. And I'm not just saying that because this is Ursula's podcast. I'm saying that because we have to invest in our business, even if it hurts a little bit. It's so important to invest in your business and yourself. So you have permission. Let's do this. Not every day is perfect, but we definitely have the ability to, grab every day by the horns and just make it our own.
Amen. What a perfect way to end. Margaret Brown, thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for sharing your expertise. I can't wait. We're going to definitely have you back. So keep in touch with us. Keep us posted. Don't you love her? So definitely go to socializela.com, check it out, and also grab her 90 days. So socializela.com/90 day. That's an awesome gift, and there's videos that go with it. It's worth way more than $27 as well. You get it for free, so jump on that, grab that. And also, Margaret talked about one great goal. A lot of people ask me about that. And so if you haven't left a review yet, you can leave a review about the show on iTunes, which we would greatly appreciate it, and help others learn more about the show. And then go to salescoachnow.com/giveaway. And when you show us the review there, you get a download of One Great Goal plus a process that'll take you through to actually figure out your one great goal right now. And you can learn what that's all about because we've had other people talk about it on the show. All right, everybody, that's it for now. Thanks for being part of our community. We value you, and make this your most epic week yet. Bye for now.